Escape from Tarkov. This game will chew you up and spit you out like a piece of cheap gum. Tarkov is the school bully that flips you upside down and shakes the lunch money out of your pockets. I am 1000% sure EFT has caused at least a handful of divorces. And in my opinion, most of this has to do with all the gameplay being tied to online only. This game has a lot of cool and unique and tasty ingredients, like the hideout and stash system, a complex trader economy, insanely depthful gun customization, and some of the most intense in-game combat you can ask for. All of these ingredients combine to make a supreme Tarkov pizza. It's like there's this beautiful pizza being sold at Battle State Pizzeria. Looks like it's out of a cartoon. The cheese stretches when you pull up a slice. Right, looks so good. And right as you think they're about to sell you this pizza they just made, they throw a big rotten trout on top. And you may ask, hey, could you not put that trout on my pizza? And the pizza employee responds with, you got desync, hackers, insane load times, getting booted out of the game if your internet slips up for just a second. New to this update, the servers are now always full, so you have to wait in a queue of 50,000 people before you can get in, only for some back-end error to send your ass back into the queue. The worst part isn't even all those things. Those could all be fixed at some point, those are all technical. But this next part is a gripe that cannot be fixed. It's the nature of this game. Most people that play video games, they do it for fun, maybe a bit of a challenge. Tarkov mains are not most people. See, the majority of folks that play this game, this is their game. They don't play Tetris or Guitar Hero on the weekends. They eat, sleep, drink, and breathe Tarkov. EFT requires an insane amount of time to sink into it every wipe, and these guys are there for it every time. Nowadays, wipes are only fun for the first 2 months maybe, because by then all the Tarkov mains are all level 50 and using thermals on woods. And it's shocking and fun the first time you get one-tapped from some guy hiding in a tree, or you run into some rat in an exfil you didn't expect. But the 10th time that happens, the 50th time, the 100th time. Now they have an offline mode, but it doesn't save any progress made. So all that cool stuff like the hideout and stash economy I talked about earlier are just cancelled out. And you can't even go into offline mode unless you have an internet connection to launch the game through the BSG launcher. This is where modders come in. Behold, single player Tarkov. Now before I go on, there's one big drawback to this. You can't play with your friends. It really is single player. But if there ever was a co-op or LAN option for this,
damn, what is that, bro?
today I'm going to show you how much fun Tarkov could be if the game had a PVE mode, one where you could still experience the great parts of the game without fear of those sweats in Class 6 armor. Welcome to the single player Tarkov Experience. I'm going to guide you through my SPT experience with a few extra quality of life mods as well. Let's roll. So we start out as a bear, because it's more fun when I can't understand my character. I figured it'd be a cool start to sell just about all the starting gear and work our way up, so that's what's up. Ended up with just over 1 million rubles. We're gonna get styled up since it's free, and that looks like a PMC that's ready for anything you throw at him. Gonna go on reserve right away, because that's where the fat loot is. You can customize this stuff, but I'm gonna leave it as is for now. 20 seconds later, we're in. Pretty good as opposed to the typical 4 to 8 minute load and matching times in regular Tarkov. We spawned under the dorms. This is where the good stuff is, so it's a pretty lucky spawn. Alright, what do we got? Ooh, cigarettes? Alright. Oh, fish? Croutons? More cigarettes. Hey, that's dinner, baby. Let's loot those other boxes. Oh, shit! Oh, missed every shot. Dude, fucking A. It didn't look like he was wearing a helmet, so this should be pretty easy. Alright.
Take this.
Oh, fuck yeah. Excellent. Alright, what's he got? Oh, man. That is a... Okay, that's good armor. On my way out of the dorms, I ran into this guy. Lucky for me, he wasn't wearing any armor. I switched out the other looted gun for his, and I took his backpack too. I ran all the way up the hill towards the dome and looted this outpost as well. I got some decent loot from the computer in the safe, but the real loot here is always in the filing cabinets. Here's a classic tip from Cleb for you. The filing cabinets in this game are a neglected treasure trove full of unplundered riches. Most people ignore them online, so you don't have to worry about them being empty either. I mean, just look at that. I don't have any mods that affect loot spawns, and I got 2 diaries that are worth a bunch. And online I've seen so many flash drives, Geiger counters, and whatnot from these things. So yeah, Cleb tip. Raid those filing cabinet. After that I extracted here. Normally you can't do this in vanilla Tarkov unless you have specific items. but I modded that out because I don't like it. A pretty successful run, about 400,000 rubles and a loadout richer than we were. And now you may be thinking, this seems too easy. Isn't Tarkov supposed to be punishing? This is an experience, not a game.
Well, I say enjoy. I mean, it's not really, with Tarkov, it's not really enjoyable. I think it's more of an experience, isn't it? You don't necessarily enjoy Tarkov.
You just experience it.
You just experience. Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah, experience.
And yeah, of course it's going to be easier in single-player Tarkov against the AI. But you're still going to get all the best parts of the Tarkov experience from this without a lot of the bullshit. And trust me, you can still die.
If it's not fun, why bother?
I accepted all the available quests and decided to take on Prapor's task to clear out scavs on customs. I ran into this PMC, but he had good armor and I had shitty ammo, so he ate my first clip. I went around the corner and got a good shot on his face though. I took his backpack and his MP5. I made my way to the other side of the island to hunt some scavs. I domed one and went around the tank to get another. I took his Mosin as well. I then reached the crack house and looted a power supply and some apple juice off this corpse. The rest of the crack house was sparse, so I took a second to pout and sip my juice. I decided to head towards the fortress. This would prove to be a mistake. I tried to get the scav, but he slithered away. Turns out there were a few in this building. One of my legs got blasted from a scav I couldn't see. I hobbled my way into this room and realized I didn't bring anything to counteract a heavy bleed. I held this door for as long as I could and kept trying to heal myself enough to stay alive. If I was going to make it out at this point, I needed to find a tourniquet on one of the scavs I was taking down. I was not so lucky. I found some morphine to keep myself from limping, but the bleeding took me out before I had a chance to escape. I was now a loadout shorter, but I had stored enough in my security container to make up for about 100,000. I decided to hold on to the AK instead of bringing it into the next raid. This time, I was going to count on old Reliable. The SKS is dirt cheap and it kills. I grabbed a 20-round extension for it and donned my prettiest balaclava and set back out onto customs to settle the score with those scavs and to finish the quest. I got a spawn right next to the scav exfil. There's a ground stash under this bush that I snagged right away. I made my way up towards the sniper scav building and took the first guy I saw out. Yeah. Smoke that guy like meat on the Traeger, huh? There was a gunfight very close, but I was going to loot this guy regardless. On my way up, I found another dead scav and looted him too. The one I hit was the sniper. I took his armor, his backpack, and his rifle, and I made my merry way back to the outskirts of the map. It wasn't much later that I noticed my character starting to lose consciousness. I was lucky enough to be close to the exit, but it was still going to be a 50-50 chance whether or not I was going to make this. I decided to bite the bullet a few feet away and eat my condensed milk, trading starvation for dehydration, but it bought me the handful of seconds I needed to make it out alive. Next up, I did a pistol run on factory for fun. I also turned on this option for the match that makes scavs fight each other too, just to spice things up a bit. I started off by bagging this scav and I stole everything he had on him. I shot down another scav, and then I made the mistake of looting him in the open. I took old Reliable out for another run on customs. This proved to be a less reliable strategy than I expected. I decided to try my hand at another low-budget run on factory, with my hope being yet again to enter with this pistol and leave with a full kit. I got lucky with the first encounter and secured a decent setup. I spotted this guy from a ways away, and then I ran into some more action. I was more interested in the corpse next to his though, and I was able to secure another set of gear. After that, domed another scav in the control room and took his AK. I ran into some trouble in the tunnels when I realized this scope was not going to work in close quarters. I took off the scope and was then able to gun down another goon at the med tents. I looted his SVD, and I was pretty stoked as this is one of my favorite weapons in the game. I immediately removed the scope to avoid reliving the tunnel incident so soon. I blasted another guy with a decked out AK and a very expensive helmet. Another scav down. With that, I'd made it to the exit with a much better turnout than expected. God damn, that's some loot! The plan after this was to go on another scav run. I loaded up what I could into my tiny scav inventory and made my way out. Next up, I dressed up my PMC in a blueberry cosplay, in an attempt to blend into the bushes on woods, as I was about to attempt to find Jaeger's hut. Now the problem with woods is that most of the map is mostly just woods. It's hard to find solid landmarks, so a lot of this room was just wandering. I spotted this guy on a rock and engaged. Upon further inspection, I discovered he was also dressed up as a blueberry. After a lot of guesswork as to where I needed to go, I found Jaeger's treehouse and picked up the quest item. I found another scav in berry camouflage and put him down. I made my way to the car exit in fear, knowing that this exfil was going to take a full minute as opposed to the typical 10 seconds. But it didn't matter anyways, because the scab boss sniped me in 9 seconds. I went in for another factory pistol run. I killed one guy, and another, and another, and another.
I got a bad feeling about this.
As you should, man. And pretty soon I was close to the exit. And then it was over. Would have been nice to bring that stuff back, but all I really lost was the pistol I brought in. I donned a lucky hat, as well as a lucky shirt, and lucky pants, and I went right back into factory to get my revenge. I got a great helmet and an SVD off the bat. I was then jump scared. Some more gunfighting ensued, but I was able to make it out alive. I made the mistake of going back into factory. I picked up this AK with jank sights that led to my death. After this, I decided to do a sniping run on reserve to try to shake things up a bit. I went to the top of the dome and waited. Sure enough, it paid off. I didn't go to pick up the loot, but I was satisfied enough with the XP progress to exfil. At this point, I was done with these low budget raids. It was time to ball out. I decided to go on to customs. I turned up the enemy count too. I knew the dorms would have scabs to kill, but I was really hoping for the scab boss, Reshala. I want to let it be known that in my 300 hours played in regular Tarkov, I had only managed to kill one scab boss. This isn't just because I'm bad at the game, but the spawn chances are also low as is, and even if you do find the boss, some other player is going to dome you for the loot right after. But not in the single player Tarkov mod. There he was, huddled in a corner with his buddies. I had caught him with his pants down, and there was no one to stop me. This felt pretty good, and now that I was geared up, I was ready to grind some more levels on factory. I did about 9 factory runs in total. This recap thing is getting pretty tedious, and I don't want this video to be an hour, so here's a highlight reel. And then it happened again. This was the second time I had run into Tagilla. This time, I got lucky and caught him in healing animation. Feels good, man. By the end of this string of mostly successful factory runs, my character was decently rich, so I was much more comfortable going in geared to complete quests. And the rest is for me. I'm going to keep playing, but I think you get the point with this. I did this in only a few days and had a blast, and with the mods and configuration tweaking, you can alter this game to your desire as well. Single player Tarkov is really something special. For many, the intense risk and silly multiplayer interactions of regular EFT are what makes the game magical for them. But for me, I felt a lot of things while playing vanilla Tarkov. Some good and some bad, but fun was rarely the feeling I got. Just a lot of stress and a lot of hours dumped in for what felt like nothing. I think single player Tarkov is an experience worth trying out if you're interested in the game, but not willing to waste a bunch of time and possibly have a heart attack along the way, as well as for people who are sick and tired of technical issues plaguing the game in its current state. Or if you don't like trout on your pizza. Before I end this video, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to install it yourself. I'm fucking with you, I'm not a tutorial guy, but you can use the link in the description to find the guide I used to install SPT. A quick disclaimer as well, you do need to buy and install the base game for this to work. I advise you to follow the tutorial I linked closely so you don't get banned. And that's all for the SPT experience. This is Cleb signing off.